Did you ever think that one day Madrid would be taken over by a literal herd of cattle? Well, that's exactly what happened on October 23rd. We're seriously not making this up. It's actually an annual event that celebrates shepherds taking cattle to the pastures in the south, so that they can munch away the winter weeds. Keep watching this video because we'll be discussing goats running on the streets of Spain and more. Firstly, why are cattle replacing morning traffic in Madrid? On October 23rd, shepherds walked their flocks of cattle through Madrid. Yes, the very same Madrid that's bustling and buzzing with people, cars, and your average modern-day obstacles, so that they could reach southerly pastures for winter grazing. Can you picture that? Just imagine that you're a wide-eyed tourist snapping pictures of everything bright and colorful, and suddenly your photography session is interrupted by goats and sheep. And not just a handful of them. Nope, we're talking about a much bigger number over here. We're talking more along the lines of, well, thousands of sheep and goats. Now, that's a fun way to start your morning. Before the cattle and their shepherds marched through the city, they were received pretty warmly, with singing and dancing to be specific. They danced to the beat of the arriving animals using the help of castanets, while women wore custom head coverings, mantillas, customary head coverings, and large, colorful skirts with aprons, while the men wore wide pants that were tucked into long socks. And then this finely dressed crowd danced around each other by performing a traditional Spanish dance, jota. And wait, the scene gets even better. Not only is there color and music and dancing galore, but there's also a lot of symbolic significance to this dancing ritual that's used to welcome the cattle. The dancers were wearing wooden shoes on spikes. These spikes are important because they actually pay homage to the pastors who would wear them to navigate through muddy fields. Coming up, how did Madrid react to the herd? The city full of locals and tourists alike lined the route to watch the parade of sheep and goats walk through the city, and it was an amazing event to experience, both in terms of sight and sound. Yes, sound. You'd think that there won't be any sounds out of the ordinary, ignoring the music and dance of course, but it wasn't just the chatter of goats and sheep and the accompanying clatter of their feet that caught everyone's attention. It was the bells around their necks. While some people took photos and videos with their phones, some children tried stroking the passing herd of sheep. An American 22-year-old English teacher who's been living in Madrid for a month described the event to a journalist from Reuters and said, "It was crazy that there were so many sheep. I've never seen anything like it," and that it's definitely a great way to learn about Spanish history and culture. Even their mayor gave her 2 cents on the festival. In her 2016 speech, she herself suggested making the festival an annual event, in which people could join the shepherds on their way to Madrid. The mayor described it as a beautiful tradition, and gave her vote of approval for the idea by adding, "Why not?" And we couldn't agree with her more. Finally, Spain isn't the only country that's got cattle running on the streets. There are countries other than Spain that have a whole day dedicated to shepherds creating a route through the city for their cattle herd, so that they can carry out their winter grazing. A few examples are Ireland, Italy, Chile, Peru, and Argentina. In fact, Italy's got its own annual celebration of festivities and events that happens in the Schnellstal Valley, while Ireland has its own way of celebrating. The ancient and unique farming practice was celebrated this month at the annual Burren Winterage Weekend Festival. The festival takes place between the dates of October 26 and 30 in Corofin, as well as other various locations across the Burren region. The event was coordinated by the local landscape charity, the Burren Bio Trust, and showcased a wide range of farming and cultural events. An example of what was included in the event is the Burren Farm Walks, a tea talk on farming and archaeology, and last but not least, cheese tasting, a butter making workshop, and a children's creative nature writing workshop. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. The Burren Winterage School even held a whole 24 hours long event on the theme of Education for Sustainable Development in Rural Areas, Farming for Nature Networking Day, and National Farming for Nature Awards. What a fun way to raise awareness. But wait, the party isn't over yet. The wonderful event will also include the Community Cattle Drive, where hundreds of people join a local farming family in herding their cattle to the upland winter pastures. The Community Cattle Drive will take place on Sunday, October 30th, 2022. Moving on to related news, here's why sheep annually pass through Spain. So, the annual event was revived back in 1994 as part of Madrid's annual Fiesta de la Transhumancia, and this happened thanks to the Spanish Parliament recognizing the traditional routes shepherds used to herd their livestock. Now, about a few centuries ago, things would have been much different for the shepherds and all the cattle involved. For one, the route would have taken them through the quiet countryside, not the busy streets of Madrid, including Madrid's main square, and the busiest area of all, the Plaza Mayor. But you know what they say, adapt and overcome. And we suppose that's exactly what the shepherds did. Now, jumping back to the present, the shepherds pay the mayor 50 maravedis al millar, 50 coins per 1,000 head. This is the payment that was established way back in 1418 for crossing the city, and as you can see, it hasn't been changed ever since. Way to keep the tradition alive. Coming up, what are the benefits of transhumance? Turns out, transhumance, which can be defined as the seasonal act of moving livestock from one location to another, has a decent amount of benefits. For one, it's actually pretty important for areas with harsh climates and low pasture production. Also, transhumance is considered the herder's way of adapting and adjusting to the different variable grazing resources and environmental conditions of this day and age. Another benefit that transhumance carries is that it minimizes grazing competition and protects rangeland pastures from being overgrazed. And finally, using crop and livestock production side by side creates mutual benefits and contributes to the livestock's enhanced sustainability. Yay, teamwork! On a similar note, Barcelona's using sheep to stop wildfires. Ever since April, the Barcelona City Hall's employed about 290 sheep and goats to munch the undergrowth at the Collserola National Park on the outskirts of Spain's second-largest city. The aim of the pilot scheme is to reduce wildfires, or, well, the risk of them happening by clearing the vegetation in a manner that's environmentally friendly. Plus, it does a decent job at educating the Mediterranean port city's 1.6 million residents. Now that's a large number about the countryside and its importance. According to one of the shepherds involved in the project, Daniel Sanchez, the biggest challenge is re-educating people about rural life. The sheep and goats eat the scrub, which, in the words of one maintenance worker, is the best part of all because then the dry vegetation's all gone. He even said he hoped the flock would return next year. Let's all say a big thank you to the sheep who are busy doing work that others would consider too hectic. The project ends in June, and if it's a success, then the authorities may expand it to other green areas. Ferran Paune, a biologist and livestock farming expert who's in charge of the project, said that the area is at a high risk of wildfires because it's overcrowded, with many urban areas and people living in woodlands. This means in the case of a fire, the natural park could burn in only 8 hours, obviously creating a very serious problem. The area would need to be immediately evacuated to keep everyone safe. Finally, here's why transhumance isn't as common nowadays. Sadly, transhumance isn't happening as frequently as before. One study even indicates that the sheep populations used for transhumance in Greece have dropped from 30% in 1955 to only 6% in 2000. Yikes! Thanks to the social and technological evolutions of today's age, even Selingato has been eradicated. Well, completely. It's basically a sort of pact made between sheep and goat farmers, which flourished in the Balkan countries during the 18th and 19th centuries. And it even became an example of an optimal human organization of flock management that's founded on respect for the environment and its protection. R.I.P. The consequences of this change in livestock farming systems are a huge deal, to say the least. They've contributed to the fragile Mediterranean ecosystems being overthrown due to the unbalanced use of pasture land, which are overstocked or undergrazed pastures. This results in increased fires, erosion, and a vast degradation of extended areas. That's a wrap for this video. Would you like to see the Fiesta de la Transhumancia in person? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.